Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
The Marin County Fair is back July 1st through 5th in San Rafael, and this year's theme, Stars, Stripes, and Stories, makes it one to remember. As America turns 250 and Marin County marks its 175th anniversary, the fair is bringing the whole community together for live concerts, nightly fireworks over the lagoon, carnival rides, fair food, and special activations, including a scavenger hunt and a community paper patchwork quilt. Discounted tickets are available through June 30th. Visit marinfair.org for info and tickets.
The toll that what he believes he's in pursuit of, I think it is taking a toll on him.
This is great. Wonderful. I'm speaking with BT Meza, the director of Affection. BT, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Honestly, this film is so much fun. It's so wild. Where did it come from? Where did the idea, the kernel of this film originate?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I find when I'm when I'm coming up with ideas, it always goes back to my childhood. And I feel like all the things when I was a kid that influenced me, they always come out, and that's kind of where I draw from. And so, when I was younger, my father passed away, and my mother got with a gentleman who, we moved out to this isolated place out in the middle of nowhere, and he was a little bit abusive, and it was certainly an interesting point in my life as a child. And so, I had always thought about, like, what would somebody who is never from this life before, that got dropped into this life, what would they feel like if they were told, hey, this is your life, you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're in this situation. And, that kind of had started, some of the gears turning. And, just the thought of, like, thinking about life and, like, if things could be different, if you could change things, and so thinking about those things kind of is what, started Affection, the idea of a person being thrust into this horrible life that was not their own, and the idea of somebody who just wanted to change their life and go back to the happiest point in their life, and recreate that again.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating tension as well, because this is a hard film to talk about without giving spoilers. So I'm going to do my best. But we do see these characters held in tension of trying to recreate the good times, and you've got this other character who feels lost entirely, and like you said, completely unaware and stuck in this horrible moment. And I was wondering too, like you mentioned, this idea of dealing with, certainly this film about grief. But I would love to ask you about the power of letting go here, because this is a film that really is asking that or challenging that idea of grief and letting go in tension.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, and there is a big element of that, and it does kind of, Bruce's character, he really has a hard time letting go, and I think part of the question is, as cheesy as it sounds, is, how far would you go to, save the people you love most and make yourself whole again? But also, if you had the ability to not have to let go, would you let go? Or would you fight to get back to that place where everything in your life that mattered most to you was you were surrounded by love and happiness?
In that spirit, I had the chance to ask this to Joseph, and I'd love to ask it to you as well, because Bruce is a very interesting character that seems to straddle the lines between, I don't want to say evil, but good decisions and bad decisions. Let's put it that way. In your mind, is Bruce a good man?
I think Bruce believes he's a good man. And I think, I do think as the story unfolds, the toll that what he believes he's in pursuit of, I think it is taking a toll on him. And I think he does start to erode a bit from, this thing that he's doing over and over and over and over again, and I think in his mind he feels like, well, I'm not really harming anybody because they can.
Head to Safeway this week and enjoy these amazing deals. Clip coupons from the weekly mailer or download them from the Safeway app to breeze through checkout. USDA Choice Boneless Beef Tri-Tip Roast Untrimmed Twin Packs are just $5.99 per pound. Juicy red cherries for just $2.99 per pound, fresh, flavorful, and perfect for summer snacking. And a clip or click offer on sweet summer corn. Get 8 ears for just $1. Limit 8. Visit Safeway.com for more details. See you in the aisles.
Summer's a gift. The gift of days that last a little longer. A brighter state of mind. So gift yourself a new Kia at the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. With specially tagged vehicles including the Sorrento, Sportage, Carnival, as well as the Niro Hybrid. All backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. So the gift of summer can keep on giving for summers to come. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Event ends 7/6/26. See dealer for warranty details.
Just restart again. And I think it does start to occur to him that what he's doing is wrong. But I think that he's so invested in his pursuit that he's certainly blinded by some of the things that he's doing. That he didn't start off, I think, as a bad person, and I don't think that he certainly believes totally that he's a bad person.
Well, like I said, it's a fascinating journey to watch him because, like I said, a film like this oftentimes paints a very clear hero-villain sort of dynamic, but Bruce is a little more complicated than that. And I wanted to ask you too, I know we're starting to run out of time, but one of the things that Joseph mentioned that I really need to ask you about was the science behind the film, because one of the things that he said is after conversations with you, that this film isn't as far-fetched as it seems, and that there's things going on in the world that many of us don't understand about trying to recreate similar conversations. Is that true?
I read an article while I was actually writing this film, because I did try to research as much as possible. I went and met with some people at UCLA who are doing some incredible things, and just read as much as I could about it, so that as much as I could be faithful to something that could be plausible, that I could. And there's an article that says that within 40 years that we will have mapped the human mind, which is there's a moral dilemma there. I think there's so many aspects that you look at and you go, well, this would be a great thing, if you lose a loved one or something along those lines. They're not gone forever. But it also brings up the situation of, like, what does that really mean for humanity? What does that do if you start becoming duplicated, or which one of you is the one that deserves? I think there's just so many, and I didn't want to go too far down that rabbit hole with this. I think there's so much that you can dig into all of that stuff. Definitely there's an element of it in the film, and I really wanted this film to be about Ellie and Bruce and each of them, their evolution and their discovery of their situations. But I did want that to be kind of something that people think about because it isn't that far, in the future, as we might think it is.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think, to be honest, like this is a film that is genuinely fascinating, and it's very fun. Like, it's a fun sci-fi with some twists and turns, and it's pretty well it's well done. Thank you so much for your time, BT. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. Okay. Bye-bye.
Your wedding begins here. You've found your person. Now find your perfect place. Welcome to Marin County, where your love story meets its perfect setting. Exchange vows beneath ancient redwoods on a sun-kissed beach or overlooking the sparkling San Francisco Bay. Whether you're planning an intimate elopement or a grand affair, Marin offers the space and the spirit to make your wedding uniquely yours. Discover where forever begins at visitmarin.org and explore the weddings page for details.
Hi, it's Sierra Miller. I can't wait for you to check out my new collection of shoes and accessories at Designer Shoe Warehouse. If you love shoes as much as I do, then trust me, I got you. From cute sneakerinas to the perfect flip-flops to stunning heels, these shoes are all style, no drama. It's a girl's girl summer, and DSW has just the shoes. Shop the Sierra Miller collection right now at your DSW store or dsw.com.